Imagine you sit in a time travel and are now in July 2020. The world is now gradually getting used to the more hopeful new normal. Unlocking taking place in phases. You sit on your most comfortable couch and switch on the television. Your favorite shows are not being aired because the shooting has ceased for the time being. So you turn on the news channel. Good news. The number of people who tested positive for COVID are somewhat under control. You sit on the couch with a smile of relief. But then, your father receives a call from his friend, who is a senior doctor in one of the biggest health institutions of your country. You notice a look of dismay on your father's face while he is speaking. After the call, your father gives you an update that the rate of the number of the COVID patients that we get to see in the news channels is way behind the actual one. In reality, the numbers are rising substantially. This piece of news devastates you. One, because the disease is spreading vigorously. And two, because you're not sure what to believe and what not to. You cannot say anymore what exactly around you is real. What is authentic? When I speak of authenticity, some of you might be thinking that it's a rather enormous word, right? Although Lord Google provides you with long definitions to describe the word. If you ask me, authenticity is simply being real. It is all about portraying your true self genuinely and to have transparency. But as I have mentioned just now, it's turning harder and harder to get to terms with this word presently. So a while ago, I came across a post of an NGO dealing with children on Instagram. Upon discovering it further, I saw motivating posts on how that organization worked towards the development of children, their education, safety, and several other rights. It took my fancy and I decided to follow it and even made up my mind to make some donations. Filled with compassion and driven by a strong urge to contribute to making the lives of these children better, I moved the cursor to press the donate button. And just then, my eyes caught a headline where the name of the same NGO was mentioned. What a coincidence, I muttered as I proceeded to read more about the organization. No sooner had I begun reading the first line that I was taken aback with disbelief. That very same organization, which seemed perfectly genuine, had been riddled with serious allegations of child trafficking. This incident shook me to the core. I wondered how was it possible to have two distinct realities of the same thing. Is the world we're living in so fake? Is it the norm to have two faces? One that the world sees and one which is your real one. Questions like these have plagued me ever since that day. I did some introspection on the same Lord Google and came to the conclusion that the world we see around us is a filtered one. Not everything here is genuine. Assuming people around you to be showing their real selves would be an immature thing to do. For all my dear listeners who have a different take on the topic, you may say that this is an overly pessimistic view, that we can of course find authenticity in the toothless smile of an old lady who isn't bothered by what people around her think, or in the random acts of kindness of a good Samaritan who is guided by his inherent helpful nature. You may say that authenticity reigns supreme in the hearts of those brave people who dare to raise their voice for a cause they believe in, who do not give in to peer pressure but unapologetically share their honest opinions. According to me, these are all aberrations and are so rare that we are surprised when we find someone being authentic. It is as if we've stopped expecting people to show their true selves. In fact, we find it to be more prudent to hide behind a projected personality. After all, it is the age when our social presence is determined by carefully manicured profiles. Where then can we find authenticity today? Well, I have a simple answer for this. Mahatma Gandhi once said, "Be the change you want to see in the world." That's it. We've got our answer. to be authentic, we must start with being ourselves in thought, action, and speech. If you can love the face that looks back at you every time you stand in front of a mirror, if we can learn to accept our imperfections and celebrate our uniqueness, if we can find the courage to speak unhesitatingly in our own original voice, soon people around us would be inspired to do the same. And we're all connected with each other, isn't it? As per facts, there are 7.9 billion people in the world. Imagine if this authentic chain grows and more people simply rejoice in being real. The world will soon be full of authentic people. So why not empower our inner selves? Why not be us? As a kid, the first time I ever heard about authenticity was in a ketchup advertisement. Made of farm fresh tomatoes, purely organic, was #1 ketchup, 100% authentic. And now, years later, to think I'm sharing my views on authenticity. From ketchup to life lessons, my understanding about authenticity has surely come a long way. But jokes apart, when I look back, I find my journey as someone who realized the importance of being authentic a really incredible one. As a student, I have often been surprised when people got the same scores as I did without working hard at all. I, on the other hand, would spend nights to give my best shot, be it in group projects or off-school activities. It affected me a lot to see others not putting in half as much effort as I did. It reached a point when I wanted to give up working hard and began thinking that being disciplined was uncool. So I forced myself to stop making an effort. But things didn't work out this way as well. This was when I understood that working hard and being disciplined that were aspects that defined how I was as a person. Working hard for anything at all gave me satisfaction and was part of my nature. Thus I realized that when I tried to fit in with others and when I tried to mimic their style of working, I was only harming myself, moving away from what spontaneously came to me. This was when I realized that under the influence of others, I had actually lost myself. That was when I got a new perspective to look at things. I accepted myself with all my imperfections, but at the same time, I always had room for improvement. For instance, I am not a really good communicator. And the truth is that in today's world, communication is a crucial aspect which helps us to connect with others and takes us far ahead from where we are now. But, as they say, the biggest room in the world is room for improvement. So, I worked on my communication skills, and that's why I can confidently share my views with all of you. I realized that when we are authentic, our true, intrinsic nature guides us and helps us grow in confidence. When we are authentic, we naturally stand out in a crowd, our uniqueness shining around us like a halo. Remember, it's not wrong to like a 1-star rated movie. Neither is it wrong to opt for an attire completely different from the current fashion trend. Everyone is different and everyone has a right to be authentic and true to themselves. Long story short, why blend in the crowd when you can stand out? Reveal the wonder that you are. Honor yourself by allowing your true self to guide you as you go about life. Be as authentic as you can ever be, unapologetically. Thank you.